Hey, Akane,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the other day we were coming home on the bus,
Yeah.
and I got off the bus, and I thought you were on the same bus as us, but when I
Oh.
started walking home, you weren't around. What happened?
Well, it's kind of a funny story actually. I fell asleep on the bus
Oh no.
and I was so tired that afternoon. It was a Friday afternoon and I'd had a long week and I just fell deep into sleep. And I really didn't notice when we were at the end of the bus ride and we were at the station. And then I was really upset because the bus driver didn't say anything. And so I just kept sleeping. And by the time I woke up and noticed, we were on our way back to the school again.
Oh no.
Yes, and I didn't get a chance to press the button and get off until I was almost halfway to the school. So I ended up getting home really late and even more tired, and it wasn't a very good experience at all.
Did you say anything to the bus driver when you got off?
No, I didn't because I was so flustered and I was in a rush to get off that I didn't really get to say anything.
Oh, that must have been so annoying.
It was.
So what time did you actually make it home?
I think it was around 7:30 maybe.
Hmm. Well, the next time we come home, I'll look for you and I'll make sure to wake you up.
For sure. And make sure to look in the back seats and make sure I'm not lying down horizontally because I think maybe that's how the bus driver missed out on the fact that I was there.
Okay. Hey, Akane,
Yeah?
I know that you cook a lot, and I never cook,
Mm-hmm.
but it's starting to get really expensive to eat out, so I want to cook more.
Right.
Can you recommend something that's very, very easy for somebody who does not know how to cook?
Okay. Well, I'm not the best cook myself, but I do cook often for financial reasons because it is cheaper. I would recommend, if you're not used to cooking, I would recommend the fried noodles. It's quick, it's easy, it's inexpensive, and yeah, I think you can do it.
Okay. So what do I do? I mean, actually, first of all, what do I need to buy?
Well, I think you would need to go to the grocery store and get some noodles. You can get the ready prepared ones, which are quick and easy. The dried ones you would have to boil first, so I would recommend the ready prepared ones. And you also need some vegetables, and maybe if you like, you can also add some meats.
Okay. I probably won't do the meat thing,
Okay.
but for the vegetables, what vegetables do you recommend?
Well, I recommend seasonal vegetables because the ones in seasons are always higher in vitamins and nutrients. Right now it's about early summer, late spring. So the ones that are good right now are eggplants, spinach, and well, bean sprouts are good all year round,
Hmm. Okay, so assuming I buy all this stuff,
right?
bring it home,
Mm-hmm.
what do I do?
Well, first you need a good frying pan, and
I
well,
have
first,
that.
okay, first you need to actually wash the vegetables and cut them up into small pieces, and then heat the pan up with oil,
Mm-hmm.
and then put the vegetables in first because they take longer to cook than the noodles. After you've seen that the vegetables have gotten slightly brown and soft, then you could add the noodles and mix it up until the noodles are heated up, and then just season it with salt and pepper or a sauce that you like.
Mm. Okay, sounds pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
But as for the oil, what
Right.
kind of oil should I get?
Well, vegetable oil, canola oil, or olive oil, I think would be the healthiest choices.
Okay. Now, one problem I have about cooking is for
Right.
people that don't know how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you cook? Like you say, chop up the vegetables. Do I
Yeah.
chop up five eggplants, one eggplant?
Well, if it's just for yourself, I would recommend just one eggplant and maybe half a bag of bean sprouts and half a bunch of spinach.
Mm.
The vegetables really shrink after you cook them, so it might look like a lot when they're raw, but once you cook them, they shrink.
Okay. Well, I'll give it a try, and I'll tell you how it tastes.
Great, good luck!
So Ruth, we are both teachers,
That's right.
and we have students, and we teach our students English,
Yes.
and English is not their first language.
Mhm.
What do you do in class when students do not speak English, when they speak their own language instead?
Firstly, I give them a stern look, although that doesn't always work. Then, well, if I'm setting an activity, I always make sure that I ask them first of all which language they're going to do the activity in, and any student who's not going to speak English has to put their hand up, and generally students don't like to be the odd one out, so they don't put their hand up.
That's a pretty good strategy.
What do you do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't had much success, really. So I've actually been pretty casual about it. I just let them speak occasionally to each other in their own language.
Really?
Yeah, and then, well, I just encourage that they speak English, but I figure as long as they're trying to speak in English and they do the majority of it in English, that when they have to speak a little bit of their language, that's okay. I mean, as long as it's quick and, you know.
I really think English should be the only language they speak in class if they're learning English.
But don't you think that's just too hard? That maybe it actually brings them down, they strain too hard, that sometimes it's just easy for them to communicate really quickly and then switch back to English?
I think it's really good for them. I think it's a challenge. I'm not saying it's easy for them, but I do think it's good for them, and I think it helps their English to improve more quickly.
Yeah, I guess maybe I should try it. I'll give it a try, but it might be too late because I've already let them, not do it.
So do you think you might start this week?
I'll try, but I have to be careful because I don't want to shock them too much.
Ruth, what do you think about stay-at-home parents?
Do you mean like one parent staying at home with a child?
Yeah, one parent staying at home and the other one working.
I think it's really bad if a child stays at home with one parent, actually.
Really? Why would you say that?
I think children who are brought up like that generally don't really know how to socialize with other people except for their parents.
Oh, well, why would you think that?
Well, they're not really given the opportunity to interact with different people. I mean, they spend pretty much all day, every day with that one parent, and I think it's a real shame. They don't learn how to share or how to get along with and talk to different people.
Well, I think that the child will actually get more interaction if there's a stay-at-home parent, because the parent will be able to take them to different activities and to other houses to have playmates, and at the same time they'll be able to spend more time with that parent and have socializing time with family members.
But I think that children could get those same experiences from different people who looked after them. It wouldn't necessarily need to be their family who looked after them, surely.
Well, sure, but I think that it's different when a person who's not related takes care of a child. I'm sure that they do their best, but the love is not there. The caretaker would not love the child as much as the parent would. And at the same time, if there's one person taking care of 10 different children at the same time, I would wonder about the amount of attention that the child gets and safety issues as well.
But I think you've got to look at the practical aspect of this. It's not always practical for people who don't have much money to have one parent staying at home all of the time.
That's true. I really agree about that.
Oh, good. We agree on one thing. So, Akane, is there anything that you're frightened of?
Well, I'm really scared of horror movies. I never watch them because they really frighten me.
Horror movies, wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a horror movie?
Well, when I was little, I used to watch them with my friends because back in the 80s, horror movies used to be really popular, like Jason and Freddy Krueger
Oh,
and
yeah.
things like that. Yeah. But yeah, they used to keep me up at night and I couldn't sleep.
Oh. Yeah, my friend actually had a Freddy Krueger poster. It used to frighten me too.
Did she?
Yeah, it wasn't my favourite thing.
Yeah.
So, what don't you like about horror movies?
Well, I don't know. I think it's the psychological aspect of it. They just really make me feel scared.
Oh. What was the last horror movie that you watched?
The last one I watched was, I think it was the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, I know that
Yeah,
film.
the
Yeah.
first one. I saw it in the theater with my friend,
Mhm.
and I couldn't sleep properly for a week after that.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's stupid. A lot of people think it's a pretty stupid movie. But I think it was just the psychological aspect of it that really made me feel scared. And I think with that movie, after people saw it, they weren't really sure whether it was real or not. And so there was
yeah.
that element as well.
Was that the same film that I'm thinking of? The one where they filmed people in a forest? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It was in a forest, and the whole thing was done with a camcorder, a handheld camcorder, and so a lot of it was, I think, black and white. I can't remember, and the camera was very shaky. And
So it wasn't professionally filmed.
I guess it didn't look like it was.
Right.
Yeah, I heard that the movie actually only took, it didn't take a lot of money to film it, but it made a lot of money.
Yeah, I can believe that, actually. I can believe that. Wow, thanks for that.
Last year, I went to Portugal just after Christmas, and I stayed there until, well, just after New Year's this year. In Portugal, I met up with one of my friends from Toronto. He had family that lived in Portugal because his family was originally from Portugal, so they were kind enough to let me stay with them. I didn't know any Portuguese except for some simple words like hello and thank you. I learned some simple words through an audio CD before I went there. And the people that I stayed with didn't know very much English either. However, we got along surprisingly well. They were surprised that I was able to eat some of their exotic foods. They made some delicious meals every single day, like octopus, tripe, and rabbit. It is quite exotic, but I thought it was quite good. They also made some excellent desserts like creme caramel and a rich sponge cake that they called pain de l'eau.
I go to church, and I'm going to tell you what it looks like inside my church. Firstly, when you go in, there's normally somebody at the door who greets you, and they give you a hymn book. Hymns are songs, and we have a book full of songs. Then, in the main part of the church, we sit on pews. Pews are like long wooden seats, and the pews in my church are quite big. You can fit about 10 or even 15 people on one pew. The minister, he's the man who leads the service, is at the front of the church. He stands behind the pulpit, which is a wooden box, and he puts the Bible on that box. There are lots of stained glass windows in my church. They are windows with coloured glass in them, and they often have pictures on them, normally pictures of stories in the Bible. We also have an organ in church, and somebody plays the organ every week. The organ pipes are at the front, and it's very loud. However, we also have a piano and a small group of people who do singing on other days. I really like my church. I like the atmosphere there, and I really think it's a friendly place. Oh, hello there. Can I help you?
Hi, I'm just looking at some of your paintings here. You have a really nice store here.
Yes, that's right. We do, don't we? We have some really nice paintings in here.
I think I really like this one. Can you tell me a bit about it?
Certainly, yes. Now, that one's actually by a local painter. His name's John Mansfield.
Mm-hmm.
He's been painting since he was 14, actually, although he
Wow.
died in 1999, so he painted for about 53 years in total.
Really?
Yeah, I really like that one myself, actually.
Mhm. Well, so he died. That means that there aren't many of his paintings left.
That's right, yes. I mean, most of his paintings are one-offs, and this one is a one-off.
Wow, okay. I especially like the colors of this one. I like how it's bright and it looks really nice, and I like how it depicts the local landscape.
Yeah, that's true. It's really nice, isn't it? Actually, this is a picture of a local walking route, which is quite famous and quite popular with hikers. A lot of people go there on walks, particularly at the weekend. And if you look on the left-hand side there, that tree is the oldest tree in the area.
Oh, is that right? Have you ever been to this place?
Yes, I've been there quite often, actually, and it looks very much like this in the spring.
Okay. Well, if John Mansfield is a local painter, have you ever met him when he was alive?
Yes, he often used to come into the shop. He was a very, very devoted painter, and he really enjoyed buying paintings by different painters in the areas.
Really? Wow. Well, that sounds really interesting. How much is this painting?
That one's actually £180.
Wow, 180 pounds.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Well, that's a bit beyond my budget. Would you be able to give it to me for 100 pounds?
I think 100's too cheap.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's see. This other painting looks nice too. How about if I buy both of them? Would you be able to give it to me for maybe 250 pounds?
Why don't we say 300 and you've got yourself a deal?
300. That sounds good. Thanks a lot. I'll take it.
Okay then.
Great. Hello and welcome to our show. Today we'll be making one of my favorite recipes. It's called the egg spaghetti. First, what you will need for this recipe is about 100 grams of dried spaghetti, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 50 grams of minced meat, about a half of a medium onion, half a cup of chopped mushrooms, 1 cup of tomato sauce or peeled crushed tomatoes. I prefer peeled crushed tomatoes. And lastly, you will need 1 egg. First, let the water come to a boil and boil your dried spaghetti. While you are waiting for the spaghetti to boil, you can prepare your sauce. Heat up the pan with the olive oil and add the minced meat. Brown the minced meat until it gets nice and brown. Lower the heat to about medium heat and then add your chopped onions. It's important to fry your onions in lower heat so that you can let it caramelize. It'll take a while, but it will be worth the effort because all the sugars will come out of the onion and bring a nice sweet taste to your sauce. Then add your mushrooms, your chopped mushrooms, and keep stirring it around until it gets nice and tender. And then lastly, you can add your tomato sauce or peeled crushed tomatoes and let it simmer for a bit until it gets nice and warm. Your spaghetti should be ready by now, so you can drain the water out and add a bit of olive oil to your spaghetti so that it won't stick. Put your spaghetti on a plate and then pour some of your sauce on top. Now, you can fry your egg on a pan, sunny side up. I like to leave the yolk nice and soft, and then put the fried egg on top of your spaghetti. Now, when you eat your spaghetti, I like to pierce the egg with a fork so that all the yolk drizzles out and becomes a part of the sauce. The egg is quite alkaline, so it brings a nice mild taste that counteracts with the acidic tomato. And enjoy!
Hey, Ruth, Akane and I were thinking of getting a movie tonight and watching a movie.
Oh, that sounds good.
So you gonna come over?
Really, I can't actually. I've got to fill in some forms tonight. I'm going to law school in September, so I've got to get some money together.
You have to get money together on Saturday night?
Well, I did actually try and do my forms today, but I didn't manage to get anything done, so now I have to do it on Saturday night.
Yeah, but tomorrow's Sunday. Just do it tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm going to church tomorrow, and so I'd rather get some done tonight.
Well, how long are you going to work?
Tonight? I'll probably do a couple of hours. Maybe I can come up and watch the end.
Okay, well, what time do you think you'd be able to come up? Because we can just do different stuff. You know, Akane, she's always cleaning. I'm sure she'd love to go back and scrub her apartment or something.
Well, how about 10 o'clock? What are you doing at 10?
That 10 would be good, if I'm still awake.
Will you be too tired?
No, that's good. It's Saturday, no problem.
Really?
Yeah, do it. We were thinking about getting Shrek 2.
Oh, wow, I really like Shrek 2.
Okay, cool.
I really like it.
I wanted to watch Star Wars, but she said no.
Oh, I'm glad she said no.
You don't like Star Wars?
Can't stand it. Except I do like Ewan McGregor.
That's right. You said that before. Okay. Well, yeah, cool. We'll just go home and work really hard and try to come back.
I'll do as much as I can.
Okay. See you then.
Alright then, see you later. Thanks for the invitation.